on every week, and they've been putting the past 2 weeks that we've done comms here in such a short time. It's been brilliant. No rain for the race, by the way. Wow. So conditions have changed. I mean, it happens. But yeah, maybe some drivers were preparing, but they've got the option now. If they were lowering the wings just to try or making the wings a bit higher just to cope for when the rain comes, then that could be it. But the Tier 4 race at Singapore here at Revolution is underway, and Skinner gets a good launch off the line, but so did Shush. Shush got a very good launch there. Sorry, I flicked through, but Skinner gets the lead into turn 1. There's a bit of a pile up in the background. I think Rip may get in trouble there. He may have to give the position back, but it looks like he's continuing on regardless. And there's a bit of a gap. He needs to close up, Rip. Now he needs to use a lot of his ERS to try and close up. The Red Bull is coming through of Lanzi. Lanzi now, as he does get a penalty. I thought he was going to get a penalty due to passing off track. And Lanzi gets the position. George up into P4 as well, as Rip drops down to P5. Hazard getting past his teammate there of SA. And we're having a busy first lap here. As Yitama's saying bummer in the chat. But Shush is doing well so far. He's stayed within half a second of Skinner. And hopefully we're going to see a right good old scrap for P1. And they're all staying quite close on lap 1, but it is still only lap 1. Will we see the drivers split up, as Skullkiller has left the session there, so his car will be now ghosted and he will be dropping further and further back off the back of this grid. As the Aston Martin of Lemon, he's making moves. He gets P8 there. Not without a bit of contact though on SA. As Skinner putting the fastest lap of the race in with a 136.209. The next time round we should see a quicker lap, as DRS is now activated. But yeah, I Am Lemon making moves early. And he needs to put on a bit of a show here. Talked the big one last week. As I said in the comms chat, saying he was coming to put on a show. Can he get a podium here this evening? We know he's got the drivability, Lemon. He's just got to time these overtakes correct. Let's have a look at the tyres. Let's see what everybody has chose. And there's only one driver on the hard compounder tyres, and that is Kislesko down in P13. And there is gaps starting to perform. SA with not the greatest of pace. He's dropping back outside of DRS range from Lemon. So there'll now be a bit of a gap for him. And that's Rip. Rip's round, and he's also going the wrong way on the track. He's now got the car turned round, but Rip has had an absolutely awful start to this race. First, he picks up a 10-second time penalty, and then we see him facing the other way around on circuit. As, like I said, the gaps are starting to form. Zorro struggling to stay with the top 3. He's outside of DRS range. Is the Aston Martin driver? Is George going to look to get past and try and stay within DRS of the front 3? Lemon has the fastest lap of the race. He is making moves here, the Aston Martin driver. He's in P7. He got a position extra due to Rip going round. But Lemon needs to make moves, and he needs to make them a lot quicker than what he's doing, as George is still stuck behind Zorro here. He's looking to get past. Zorro defending very, very... He really shit Hazard up there. Like, it looked like he was almost putting him in the wall. And now Zorro remains where he is. Lemon, he just needs to get past. But then he's got to catch the top 3 who are pulling away. And Skinner, for once in a race that we've witnessed with him partaking, sits in P2. We've got a migrating host. TXT has left the session. Please don't say we've got something else, as Rip also has left the session. as Mr. L says, bottle in the chat. And I think you're 100% right there. I think he has bottled it, but Rip literally leaving the session. Pure frustration there for Rip. I think he is the lobby host. So a lot of frustration as TXT has joined back the session. Needs to get back into that car quickly. As George now with the fastest lap of 133.851. And George has closed the gap to the top three. And now we have a 9-way battle for the podium. SA trying to hold on to DRS, but he's struggling in P9. So is F125. Struggling to keep that DRS. But George has played an absolute blinder in this Williams. Gaining positions, going on the attack, closing the gap. There was a 1.5 second gap, I think there was, to George. So he had to gain 6/10 on a lap to close up, and he got it done. Got past Zorro. And now could George be looking at fighting for a podium? He's tasted the podium this season. He's tasted P1. And now, can he taste the podium again here this evening? Lap 4, he's P4. As we get QVR Harvey with the follow. Thank you very much, sir, for that follow. Very much appreciated. But George is doing well so far. Can he get past Lanzi? Can he be looking at battling for the podium earlier? Skinner now holds the lead of the race. Let's go a bit further back. TXT managed to get back into his car. And he's also past Madman. So TXT, can little Timmy improve? Can he try and catch up to SA? Try and get involved? I am Lemon outside of the DRS range now. And there's a split. Also Zorro dropping back from George. The gaps are starting to form here, people. And there goes Hazard on Zorro. As Hazard got the pace like George did. Has he got enough in the tank to try and close that gap and become a part of the battle for that podium? It looks like he is pushing the Mercedes to try and close up the gap. And he's just losing a little bit of time there in between turns 9 and 10. And it just looks like the front three have that better sector 2 pace than George. And he really has got to try and close up here. I mean, Hazard, sorry. So yeah, gaps starting to perform, show slowly. Lemon's just, since he's gotten to the back of his teammate, he's not really had that pace to try and go and attack his teammate. Whether he's doing a bit of a hold-up job here to try and give his teammate that free air, you know, who knows. But so far, Lemon, he had a cracking start. But is it a case of he's used too much of the tyres earlier to try and gain positions, and now he's going to have to hold on to P7 till the pit stops? Because he will have took a lot of life out of them tyres trying to make them moves early. And as we know, since 25's come out, it's been definitely a game of trying to hold on to the tyres as long as possible, trying to keep as much care and as much grip in them as you can. As Zorro trying to get close to Hazard. The side-by-side action from these two has kind of hindered them. They're now 2.3 seconds back from George, who is in P4. And George is showing some strong pace here. Really is the Williams driver. The whole front four, sorry. Showing some really, really good pace. We'll drop back. And Kislesko, on the only driver on the hards here, defending P14 at the minute, will be going longer than the rest of the grid. Is that going to pay off? I mean, a late safety car while he's out on the hards would be absolutely blinding for Kislesko. Due to the fact of pretty much he'll be on mediums and he'll be looking to put the laps in. Have the lads gone right on the strategy to get that second set of mediums? You know, we'll wait and see. But Kislesko really has got to start putting in the laps here. to use those hards to his advantage. The mediums are dropping off slowly, and then them hards will become quicker and quicker. Zorro now gapping Hazard. Hazard hasn't had the greatest of laps here trying to maintain DRS, as we get penalty already from Mr. L. And yeah, there is penalties. TXT with the penalty, Madman with the penalty. Track limit penalties popping up. From the drivers. I mean, it could have been due to him trying to push, you know, when you can narrowly miss your braking point, especially when you're trying to keep DRS on the driver in front and you just over push and pick up an easy penalty. Seen it a lot here on the channel, as we've got a really good scrap going on here. F1 for Live has managed to get past Lemon. I think it is the case for Lemon. Lemon has pushed them tyres too hard, too early, and is now feeling the pressure from the other drivers who are trying to get past. He's just got to try and hold on to this position. P8 still be a good result for him if it, you know, because he's had gains early, but he seems to be just dropping back ever so slowly. The VCARB driver of TXT, they're having a bit of trouble on the exit of turn 14. As Lemon going on the attack here, they're side by side. This is only going to cost them more time to the front view, but they're going to continue side by side into turn 18. The VCARB getting involved. This is it's all slowing down here. Who's going to get the position into turn 1? They're going to be 3 abreast, and the VCARB decides to opt out. The Hash driver of F1 for Live holding on to that position. He has defended very well here to hold on to that position, but here we go. The wrestling is going to start again, and it looks like Lemon may have just forced little Timmy into the wall. As we've got a caution in Sector 1, someone's had a bit of an off. And there's more contacts between the pair. And more contacts. They're banging wheels. This is only going to help F1 for Live get through. And it looks like TXT does get the position in front of Lemon there. Lemon relinquishing the position. Knows that TXT just must have more grip than him. And has got the move done. So, good little scrap here for P7. Well, now it's for P8, should I say, because all the fighting that they did cost them time for F1 Live. And F1 Live in a bit of a lonely race. TXT trying to close the gap to F1. And he's going to be using a lot of VRS to do so. Up at the front, still the top 4. Having a very good race, and George, as Shush has gone into the pit lane, so Shush pitting early here onto the hard compounder tyres. I think this will be a 2-stop, especially if Shush is going this early onto maybe another set of hards. Let's check in with the McLaren driver as he comes down the pit lane, and it looks like he's jumped on to another set of mediums. Yes, he has, so it'll be the hard compound tyres on the McLaren at his next stint, deciding to go for another set of mediums early here. Let's see what the top drivers do. Lands it, getting up past Skinner. Skinner definitely having a more difficult race this time round. He just looked comfortable at Brazil, but the drivers are really sticking with him in Lanzit and George. So the division might not be in as much trouble as we thought, especially with the last race where he put such a dominant performance on. And yeah, never really looked back, did Skinner. He just dominated. But different race for him here this evening. And he's still doing absolutely brilliantly. Still in with a shout of going back-to-back race wins here this evening. But he's under pressure from a couple of drivers in that attempt to do so. So let's see what the drivers do here. Do they pit the top 3? Do they try and stay with Shush? Because Shush will get an undercut. And is the Red Bull going to do it? Is he going to pull the trigger? And none of the drivers do. They all stay out longer. Putting another lap in here. That's going to allow Shush some free air. once these guys do pit. I think the winning strategy in Tier 2 yesterday was a one-stop. So, Mr. L, I assume you are a Tier 2 driver. Welcome into the channel. It's good to see another one of a driver from another tier watching Tier 4. So, welcome in, mate. How are you doing in your respective tier? Are you doing well? Are you a racer there? Are you a commentator in that tier? But I mean, Shush is definitely going for the 2-stop here. Are these drivers going to try and extend for the 1-stop? It's definitely possible. I mean, the Hards are a very good tyre on this game, like they were last time round. So, it's definitely an option. And I think I have... I'm a Tier 2 steward, so not a racer. Alright, fair play. Tier 2 steward. I used to do stewarding, but I've just not got the time for it anymore. Being a family man and doing comms 6 times a week really does cut into your time. So, front 3 now. Are they going to choose to pit? Nope. They are definitely trying to make that 1-stop work here. Shush has still got free air, though. So he is going to be gaining lap after lap. Can he make the 2-stop? Oh, look at the contacts there. That looked very forceful from the Alpine team. And there's now more contact, and that is Shush. That's his race ruined. That's him into the pit lane. Shush is going to be fuming. That looked the worst scene we have seen in this tier so far. As we get Jumpy Painter, I'm a Tier 2 driver, got P3 with the 2-stop, but always nice to watch others. Hey, Jumpy Painter, nice. And great result then for you yesterday. Making that 2-stop work, getting that P3, but the Alpine team maybe looking a bit questionable with that contact with the Ferrari. I mean, I'm just going off as it looked at the time, and it looked like the Alpine kind of turned in on the Ferrari there. Rocket is Tokyo drifting round most of these corners. Sugar Blex just trying to stay with him. But yeah, looks a bit naughty from the Alpine team, I won't lie. This battle for P6 still going on between these few drivers. Madman, Mepala, Kislesko now up into P8, but they'll be pitting near the, I would say around lap 20. Kislesko will probably go into the pits for the fresh mediums. Try and make that 1-stop work. As Jumpy Painter says, supporting the Mercedes guys, we are desperate for points. I mean, Hazard is in a good place. This is due to pit stops. SA, though, not having the best of races here this evening. But if Hazard can stay where he is, he can pick up some decent points and bring them home for the team. As Mep Haller now into the pit lane. Skullkiller retired from the session. To be honest, not surprised. I think Skullkiller will be putting in a ticket for the stewards to review. Zorro now in a very lonely race in Aston Martin. 3 seconds adrift from the top 3. And Hazard being 2 seconds back from Zorro. But George, I mean, hopefully he picks up a podium here this weekend. This evening, sorry, I should have said. Because last week didn't go well for him as well as he would have wanted. Only picked up, I mean, he got P1, so 38. 13 points he picked up last time out. And yeah, maybe 12, sorry. But Lanzi trying to fake the going into the pits there, and George just not having none of it. Just he stayed on his line. He was staying out, and they've got no pressure from Shush now. They can pretty much do what they want. Unless there's a safety car that comes out, and that's not going to help Shush in any way, shape or form, because he will pretty much stay where he is. But a safety car could really do these lads justice up at the front, as we see Lanzi going up into the lead of the race. Skinner settles in at P2. Lanzi running really wide on the exit there. George trying to have a little look on Skinner. Just trying to maybe put the frighteners up Skinner there, leading into that corner. But Skinner, solid as a rock, maintain the position. And now George has got to kind of fight back here to try and get close to the front two. With the aid of the ERS. And he is now back into that good fighting range. But let's go a bit further back. Team Alpine. Ooh. I really do feel like there's going to be some trouble for the Alpine team after this one. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But no, I really do feel there could be issues. As F1 for Live gets a 3-second time penalty here. Now, time penalty is starting to creep in more and more. We did have 2 earlier on. We're now up to 6 drivers with the penalties. PG in a battle with little Timmy here. The battle for P12, for P13 is in with Met Pala, sorry. Battling with Met Pala. P13, we got Zorro, Hazard, Lemon, Madman, all jumping into the pit lane for the hard compounder tyres. I'm sure they will be going on to, and it is TXT with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:33.619 on lap 14. So the front three still going for it, still staying out. Kozlesko now P4. What a result this could be for the Kick Sauber team if Kozlesko can keep this P4. He will be going on the hard compounder tyres near the end. He's got Rocket 6 seconds behind. F1's like 9 seconds behind. So he's still got some time here. He will drop behind these drivers, obviously, once he pits again. But I'm sure Kozlesko, in the back of his mind, is thinking safety car right now would be legendary. Even in a couple of laps time it would. Moving on to, like, let's say lap 19, 18. You get a couple of laps under the safety car. That'll seem nice till the end. Escorta retired from the session. P18 for him. It is a difficult track here at Singapore. You can pick up damage quite easily. The walls are very close to the circuit. Any side-by-side action can cost you heavily. As Skinner and George have gone into the pit lane. And now Lanzi, he's going to have one hell of an in-lap now. He needs to push this Red Bull to its limit. Use as much ERS as he can. Try and minimize that undercut that both Skinner and George are going for. That's what he needs to do. But we're going to see another Kick Sauber take the lead of the race once Lanzi goes into the pit lane. And that name will be Kozlesko at the top. Where did Skinner... They didn't come out too far behind P5. Did Skinner and George. They've just got to find 5 seconds. George has dropped back from Skinner. Maybe just making a few mistakes with them cold tyres into the first couple of corners that he's using the hard compounder tyres. But yeah, Lanzi really got to go for it if he wants to get a good undercut. We'll look at Skinner and see where Skinner feeds back in compared to... As Zorro's gone past George as well. So George really going backwards here on the hards. Yeah, just struggling on this opening lap of getting the temperature into the tyres. But Lanzi's in the pits. Now let's see where Skinner comes out compared to Lanzi. Lanzi is getting his tyres changed right now. And he's trundling down the pit lane. but he's going to come out behind him. He'll come out behind Skinner and probably Zorro because of where he's going to feed in. Yeah, and he does. He just slots in behind Zorro. And George is going to be looking to go early. He's got temperature into them hard compounder tyres now. And he's going to be wanting to put in pressure on young Lanzi here. Zorro trying to keep Skinner honest. Right behind him. Skinner in P5. Shush Football, 3-second time penalty. Such a frustrating race now for Shush Football, I feel. Until the end. I mean, getting damage on the back of the Ferrari after the Alpines can only be described as turning in on the Ferrari. School Killer losing out to that. And then also that had an effect on Shush. But Tyler is catching Kislesko. Only 4.5 seconds behind. Was quite a lot further back. But nice little group of cars here. Skinner trying to close up to Rocket. Nearly has DRS. Oh, he did get the DRS. Sorry, he did, Skinner. On a Rocket. As Kislesko, has he pitted a lap too early there? I know he was getting caught, but I think he may have just gone a lap too early for them mediums. To use them like, and to gain some positions, he's now back all the way down in P14. So he's got to use these mediums and use them early. But we've seen from Lemon that, you know, being aggressive on the tyres doesn't necessarily work. Lemon started dropping positions due to that fact. Madman and SA going side by side. The SA holding on to the position. As we now see Lemon getting involved in the battle as well. He's trying to gain a position against the drivers in front of him. But, you know, his tyre use on that first stint, he really has got to think about this second stint now. As here we go. Skinner has got to get past Rocket. And so has Zorro and Lanzi. They all need to do it early here. They don't want to get stuck behind Rocket. Because that'll just give Skinner such a gap. And the Aston Martin and Zorro's got to go early here. Lanzi's got to try and follow through. Doesn't want to be in behind. And he does. He goes down the inside of the Alpine. The Alpine still turning in. Still trying. I mean, he was there. And Alpine really... Yeah, that could have been disastrous for Lanzi. Just turned in as if Lanzi weren't there. As George now picking up a 3-second time penalty. Is that going to affect his shot at a podium? I think it really could do. I think it's really going to play with his chances of getting a podium. I think that maybe George's podium ambitions out the window. As he's now trying to get on the charge against the Red Bull. There's contact. And that's George into the wall. They lock wheels. And lands it losing positions as well. I mean, I'm not even going to call whose fault that was. I mean, you can all make your minds up in the chat. We all had a really good view of it. Make your comments as you will, but keep them nice and, yeah, not aggressive. But you tell me, people. Whose fault was that? We've got 12 viewers. You all seen it. Let's see which side you fall on. Is it the Red Bull's fault or is it the Williams' fault? And now even Lanzi's not even potentially looking at a podium. Skinner is going to be on the podium. Zorro could potentially get one as well. Hazard now in with a good shout at a podium. Just changes. We have drama. There's drama every race, but it's not as if it's major drama. Alpine have looked a bit shady tonight, I won't lie. Especially with that move on the Red Bull. And then turning in on Lanzi as if he weren't even there. So Team Alpine haven't looked the greatest here this evening. But I tell you what, Zorro in that Aston Martin is doing a great job of sticking with Skinner. And nobody commenting. Nobody saying, come on, we've got Mr. L. You're a steward. Chime up. Whose fault was that? Red Bull or Williams? I think personally that might it might fall on Lanzi, that one. I think that might just fall on him. As we get Blitz, let's see what Blitz is saying. Very critical to try and make a move on the outside. Looks like the Red Bull pushed him wide. And there we go. I mean, you know what? I'll agree. At the end of the day, it's our opinion. It may look completely different thingy, but at that moment, it definitely looked like Lanzi was at fault for that one. Just may have missed his braking point too much. It looked like if, it almost looked like if George wasn't there, that Lanzi would have just gone into the wall. He would have had big wing damage and would have had to pit anyway. But I tell you what, TXT and F125 doing a really good job here. Skinner is catching. Skinner will catch the pair of them. But they're doing a really good job of holding on to P1 and 2. They've got time penalties, which is obviously going to knock them off the podium come the end of this anyway. But, I mean, if they can keep going and keep trying to push and keep this position, if they can keep the gap as Zorro now gets past Skinner, and the side-by-side, the pair, and Skinner will have the inside line for the next corner. And it looks like Hazard's trying to have a look. And Skinner picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think this race could be decided in the stewards. The side-by-side action that has been going on could have potentially caused some of the penalties. Which, in my opinion, if it is the side-by-side action that's caused the penalties, and the other drivers not left enough room, I think it should be removed. But the way this race is going so far, I mean, Zorro, F1 and TXT are definitely looking like they're in with a shout of picking up a podium here. Skinner's still staying around 5.3 to 5.2 seconds behind them. TXT's made a mistake. Oh, he's in the pit lane. So TXT will be going on to fresh mediums to finish this race. Let's keep an eye on where he, ends up. Could be very, very good positions gained. He's gone to the hards, actually, for the final stint. Maybe just wants good tyres going all the way through to the end of the race. He's going to come out behind the Alpine, potentially behind the McLaren as well, if Shush has made a mistake into the pit lane. And Shush is out of this one. He's left. And you know what? I'm surprised it's not come sooner. Yeah, I think there's claims for both of them, isn't there? Really. But it's been good hard racing. But it just, I don't think either of them meant that. I'm sure Lanzi will be apologising afterwards, and I'm sure George will as well. They could have, obviously not pushed as hard. George is still doing. He's got some fucking pace. Look at him here. He's got wing damage, and he's actually catching Lanzi. And Lanzi's also got damage. Mep Hallett, penalty free. He's been having a quiet race as Mep in the Williams. Because obviously we've been looking at George. But P7, both drivers in front of him have got damage. One of them has a time penalty, which is his teammate. Anything could happen. Anything could happen here. Let's have a look a bit further back. We've got PG, Kislesko, and I Am the Lemon. Kislesko not really been able to. He has made a few positions up, but he's got to get past PGA in this DRS zone. And then close up to the back of Madman. Needs a good exit here. Get the power down. Use some ERS. Get the DRS. But PG just defending. Making it hard work. But Kizlesko down the inside. Braking that little bit later. May have forced the Ferrari driver just a little wide there. Didn't leave that car's width. But they're now making contact. Kizlesko a bit slow there through that corner. Causing the Ferrari to go into the back of him. Could you please check lap times? Excuse me. Yeah, if you can tell me how to do that. Hang on. I need to get on from back. Details. What is it? Fastest lap. Ah, so you want that one. Blitz. They're the fastest laps so far. That's how quick they're going. Or are you asking me to pull up like the race director? Alright, brilliant. No worries, well, you got it anyway. If you need it a little bit longer, let me know. If you do want to know anything, always ask. You know, don't sit in the chat and just think, oh, I can't view this and I can't view that. As Sugarblex, the Alpine driver, is left the session, well, retired from the session. He will finish this race in P15. But if you ever want tyres or anything like that and want to know, just ask in the chat. I'll always put it up on the screen. The only thing I don't like putting up is the telemetry. That's one thing that I just think it should be private to the drivers. So, people, who is going to win this? It's an awkward one, really. Skinner is catching F1 for live. 3.3 seconds now. Dropped it down 2 seconds since we were last on board with Skinner. Zorro pretty much guaranteed a podium, potentially P1. But as I said, I do feel that there may be... that this race could... Ooh, Zorro there nearly making a bit too much contact, and he's outside DRS now of Skinner. Zorro's tyres, I think they are quite a bit older than Skinner's. So Zorro using all his ERS here to try and stay with the man that could potentially go back-to-back race wins. He's got 3 seconds to find to F1 Live, who we can see just down the road. And then he has to create a gap to Zorro, which needs to be 3 seconds. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but Skinner already pulling a gap already since he's broke the DRS. And I mean, the way he's pulling the gap here, and Zorro being on older tyres, I'm sure Zorro is on a lot older tyres than what Skinner... Oh, it's what 1 lap difference, and look at the time he's gained already. Since he's broke DRS, Skinner's just not looked back. And Skinner could definitely get that 3 second gap here. So it looks like Skinner could go back-to-back wins for the Kick Sauber team. Kizlesko up into P9. He's going to be adding to the points come the end of this. I mean, F1 for Live up 9 positions. Mepala up 10. Skinner's down 1. Zorro up 5. Hazard up 3 so far. So Mepala doing the best here so far. Gaining 10 positions in the race so far. We've got 6 laps to go here. And, yeah, definitely could be a good result for the Kick Sauber team here this evening. Skinner just needs to find 0.7 of a second on this lap, as Zorro has really closed up here. I think Zorro burning through the ERS, trying to close down to Skinner. Skinner's just got to stay strategically minded here. He knows he's got a gap to build. But Zorro also as well, he needs to read this right. doesn't want to get hindered by Hazard. We've seen how severely it can affect your time chasing a car when you're going side by side. It doesn't help. You're both going slower. You're both trying to obviously get past, trying to chase down, but you've got to allow the space, and that causes you to slow down. As George with another 3-second time penalty. Since the moving on to the hard compounded tyres for George, it's not really looked good. Hasn't really been doing well. Obviously, the damage didn't help on the back of Lanzi. Excuse me, but it's not been a great race for George moving on to the hard compound tyres. Really has sent George's race backwards. So now Skinner is within DRS range of the man who has been leading this for multiple laps now. He pitted very early here, F1, but he's definitely going to have Skinner overtaking him. Zorro looks like he just doesn't have the pace really to catch up to Skinner now, and F1 for Live could use Skinner a bit here, try and extend the gap to Zorro, so Zorro only gets a P3. Because if F1 can stay close to Skinner and stay within DRS, the pace that Skinner's showing, F1 could really secure a position. As we see Hazard going through the past Zorro. Hazard up into P3. The top three have penalties though. And Lanzi is only 1.8 seconds back from Zorro. And he's closing up as well. PG with the fastest lap of the race, 133.331. So it could be interesting, this one, that who actually wins this overall in the end. As Skinner's just not had the pace on this lap to get past F1. I'm sure F1 is trying to defend his position here, as there is only a handful of laps remaining. But I'm sure Skinner's thinking, F1, just get out my way. I need to create a gap here. I want the back-to-back race wins. And he's been kept honest tonight, as Skinner really has tried to, you know, after Brazil, you look at Brazil and you think, this guy is going to absolutely whitewash the division with the pace that he showed there. It was just ridiculous. But tonight, he's had to work hard for it. And he's going to have to keep working hard for it right till the end. Because as I said, he's got to get that 3-second gap, or Zorro's taking the win here. As PG going even quicker with a 132.740. PG wants that fastest lap of the race here, as Skinner runs really wide there. And that's going to help Hazard. Hazard's now in DRS range. See, this is what I mean by drama. This league really does bring the drama. But it's drama that's good drama, because now Lanzi is still in with a shout of a podium. And, well, George isn't. He's got 6 seconds of penalties. But Lanzi, right there, he's penalty free. He's got damage. But he is still in with a shout of a potential podium here. It may get took off him in the stewards. As Lanzi has lost it. Lanzi and George very close. As now Lanzi defends the inside line. Is George going to go for it into turn one? Lanzi breaking that little bit later. George closes right up. Bit of contact there. The Williams trying to go down the inside. Bit more contact as the Red Bull Ghosts. What a fight it would have been up at the front if these two would have been involved with it, with their wings intact. It would have been one lively fight up at the front. But now Skinner takes the lead of the race, and this is now pull away time for Skinner. He needs to create that gap if he wants to win this. He's got to drop F1 like a bad habit. and get this win. So he's got the second. He's got the second he needed. He's got F1 for Live out of DRS range. As F1 for Live goes straight into the wall. Oh my God, the Haas driver. It could have been a potential podium if he just kept it clean for these final few laps, defended. But it all unfolds. It's wing damage now, and Zorro looking set for a race win here. But can Skinner, with just 3 laps of racing to go, can he build the 3-second gap he needs? Kick Sauber are going to be hoping so in these final few laps. I mean, it only takes Zorro going side by side with Hazard maybe once or twice, and Skinner is just going to pull away. Zorro just needs to keep it clean, though. He's now 2 seconds adrift. Can Skinner do it? Is Hazard going to be able to hold on to P2 here? As Zorro, as he is defending that inside, Zorro's going to have to go around the outside if he wants to get this move done. And Zorro does. And Zorro now up into P2. And Skinner with it all to do. Let's have a look at the other battles. George and Lanzi. George getting the advantage now up in front of Lanzi. Mepala, Kislesko, and I Am Lemon still battling out. Kislesko tried the hard to medium and just hasn't had the pace really to use those mediums in these final few laps to try and gain more track position. And I'm sure the tyres will have kind of leveled out a bit now with the hard to mediums. So he's got to do it on pure skill here as Kislesko. Great camera as they go through that angle. As F1 for Live picking up another 3-second time penalty. And the Aston Martin of I Am Lemon nearly going into the wall there. Nearly losing it under traction. But manages to save it. But it's come at a cost. It's come at a cost of being within DRS range of the 2 drivers in front of you. As Kislesko down the inside of Mepala. And it just holds on to it. F1 for Live into the pit lane. That could be... It's a puncher. You can see the puncher on the front right of the Haas there. And I'm sure he's going to be gutted with that one. This is something that's been added to as well. We've seen on the channel, we've seen punchers being picked up. How old are their tyres? Their tyres are 15 to 16 laps. Mepala's on 18. He could be potentially being puncher age come the end of this. There's Kislesko down the inside. Can he get the move done? There's contact and Kislesko losing a position. And I Am Lemon goes sweeping through as there's contact made between the cars. And Skinner's done it. Skinner. Yeah, no worries, Blitz. Skinner's got the 3.1 second gap he needs to get this race win. Can he do it? Come on, Skinner. Don't you can't finish in the pit lane though this time round. As that is going to have cost Skinner Zorro there. That little ride over the curb. He's trying to push. Is Zorro. He knows that there's a race win just within touching distance, but Skinner's pace in these final few laps has been brilliant. He's managed to gap Zorro. And Zorro not having the greatest turns 1, 2 and 3. And it's cost him 4 tenths of a second already on the lap. Hazard trying to put pressure on. Lanzi will get P4 out of this. Let's check the penalties as quickly before this thingy finishes, lap finishes. Oh, and Lanzi could potentially... Could Lanzi get a podium? Might be TXT. This is going to be mental when they cross the line to see who actually walks away with the podium positions here. But I think little Timmy Might be looking at a podium here, people. But Skinner, what can we say about the Kick Sauber driver? He has had another great race here this evening. He's had to work hard for it here. I'm sure he's thinking, why wasn't Singapore as easy as Brazil? He's been made to work hard for the race win here this evening. Create the gap, as he has got a penalty. He's just got to have a good couple of corners here to hold on, as Zorro has thrown it through them final few corners. Can Skinner hold on? Skinner wins the race at Singapore, and he's going to maintain the win as Zorro comes across the line. He does get P2.